Hey guys, Randy Unger here, Unger the Radar, here about to talk to the cast and crew of the new psychological thriller film, You Go to My Head. Here we go.
What was the accident again?
You were out in the middle of nowhere. Your car was completely totaled. Your water bottle was empty. Thank God I found you. You could have died out there.
And you're supposed to be my husband. Is that right?
Well guys, the film is wonderful. I saw it the other night, loved it. The visual style is unparalleled. You don't see that type of style these days. You're doing the festival circuit, you're winning awards, you're being nominated left and right. What is it like amongst all this praise?
What is it like to, you mean
What is all this praise? How does it feel to be praised?
The great thing is that thanks to certain festivals we were able to attract a US distributor, First Run Features, who will be releasing the film in the States. It's opening tomorrow for Valentine's Day. And so that really, that's the great thing, is that it's finally going to come out. It came out in Serbia about a year ago, and now it's coming out in the States and at the same time in Spain. So it's great that the film is, getting theatrical releases. But it was wonderful to, we presented the film together, the three of us, at the Cairo International Film Festival about a couple of years ago, and the reaction from the Egyptian audience, I must say, was extremely moving. Yeah. A lot of people there saw the film kind of as a Adam and Eve story, which was interesting.
All right.
And I've read that from other people too. But anyway, you can see the film in different ways. But the reactions overall have been really strong from, in different countries.
That's great. And what's it like being a part of such a great crew, a great ensemble cast? Or
the crew I have to say was like very small in the sense of I think it was only 10 people, but that made it also very interesting, and because we were with such a small crew, it was very intense.
Yeah.
And that was needed, I think, for this film.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Delfine is quite polite when she's saying it was intense.
Yeah, we had all like 4 jobs.
And in a way, we agreed a lot of things about, but there are some things that we did not agree to immediately, but we were discussing, and that was a kind of intense, work on a film, on a project, and artistically it was very provocative. It was a small crew in a huge space. The desert is
the Sahara,
unbelievable, and the experience of making film in the middle of a desert and being there and live there for 3 weeks in a bedouin camp is really something which I can appreciate. This man that he took us there, and that we made that story.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious. You're in the Sahara for 3 weeks. I mean, what are some of the challenges? That's insane weather conditions. I mean, what was it like?
Well, difficult. You just said it, because of the extreme weather conditions, but it was like 45 degrees Celsius. So and I have to say, for me it was a whole new experience. I was never in the desert. This was my first time in the desert, and me and Svetozar.
We met in the desert.
We met in the desert in real life, which was good for the film, because with my amnesia, my character has amnesia and stuff like that. So that was perfect for to find my character.
So art imitating life, in a way.
Yeah. So I was confused. I was in a strange state of mind, which helped me to find my character. And we never spoke before. We never had rehearsal before. So that was pretty intense. But it went kind of chronological, and which was good for the film and for us actually.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and as I met Delfine, we met each other in a desert. I met director on Skype.
Yes.
So,
To audition?
so we were working on Skype, for let's say more than a month, and
Yeah.
talking about what we were going to do. And at that time, it was for me very provocative to jump into this story. And it was really good that two of us met in the desert. I remember the day.
Yeah, no, I remember.
So and it is really a new experience for an actor,
And,
for a job. Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
there were like those spiders. I'm very afraid of spiders, but you remember those huge, white, like this big, everywhere.
In the desert.
In the desert,
Really?
in the tents, you had this area.
Yeah, no, that's
that's
not
so big.
that's
Yeah, and then the dust is very complicated for the cameras and all
Ah,
of
yeah.
that. So that's
Yeah,
for the
Now, Dimitri, I'm curious, what was the genesis of the project? How did it come to be?
Sorry.
Try to be honest.
Not too
Not too
honest.
I always
Try to be honest,
Well,
but not too honest.
There you go.
I came out of film school at NYU, the School of the Arts,
Right.
and I really went to film school with the wanting to make films, direct films. And when I came out of film school, life just is like that. I started to produce films to help filmmakers, make their dreams come true. But there came that moment after a few years where, I always say a director's dreams often become the producer's nightmare. And so I really was like, I need to make a film again.
Right.
And the 2 years before I decided to make this film, I met Delfine on another shoot, also in Morocco, which was a very film made without a script. And I was interested in doing that to see how you could really make a film with a small crew. And I realized there that it was really possible. And also when I met Delfine, I was like, I want to make a film for her. So I told her quite quickly while producing that other film, I said, Delfine, would you be willing to play in a film I would direct? And she said yes, but on one condition: there has to be a script, because it's really hard for actors to make a film without any screenplay.
Right.
And so I came up with this idea for You Go to My Head with a friend in New York, Matt Steinbeagle, and we wrote the first draft, which was a bit more bloody and violent than the film that got made. And then I finished the script with two co-writers in Paris, one being an American woman, Rosemary Riccio. But the film was really made for Delfine, and it's really. I've always had this belief that cinema was created to immortalize women, and I really made this film to immortalize Delfine.
What is that reaction?
I adore these sentences because it's a state of mind.
It's a beautiful thing to say.
That's
very nice.
And so and so for me,
Can I say?
this film is my film Taj Mahal to her, and so Delfine is the heart of You Go to My Head, and Svetozar is the soul.
Oh, that's nice.
and really it was a miracle to find Svetozar, because I had written myself to play the character of Jake, and then Delfine, when the shoot was postponed, said, "Listen, Dimitri,
I was like,
you need to
no.
find an actor," and she was right. I mean,
I could have seen that though,
Yeah.
or you could have been brothers, like tag teaming.
well, he's my
story.
double, he's my double. But Svetozar, when he read the script, he didn't know any of this. I mean, he didn't.
No, I just read the
he
script.
He read the story, and
I like the story.
and I think the film is both very personal, but I think it's also very universal. But Svetozar realized some things as he started being Morocco.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay.
Because in the beginning, the honesty of Dimitri and the whole story, it made me doubt. And then I was like, Dimitri, you're not gonna, this is weird.
Yeah.
It was weird, but I can make my own decisions. But I was like, okay, I will do it, but because I really like the script, but find a good actor.
And she was.
And then he found Svetozar.
But it was a miracle, because he
I
really
never
came
met him
on board.
before, but
Yeah.
I looked him up, and then I was okay.
He's normal, he's good.
He's normal. He's good, and then he's a theater actor, and
That's
did
great.
a lot of films before. So I was like, okay.
Now, Dimitri, were these two actors your first choices, or?
Well, the film was made for Delfine. So
It was made, yeah.
No, because I had a friend in LA, when he read the script, he loved it. He's like, oh, Dimitri, you should send the script out and get big, famous actors. And I was like, Steven, no. I wrote this film for her. Even if tomorrow Julia Roberts were to say, I want to make this film, I would have said no.
No, she would have been
because
wrong.
but this film was made for Delfine, and it made no sense to make it without her. So, and then Svetozar, it's a miracle that happened. I mean, because 1 month before the shoot, I was like, oh, where the hell am I going to find an actor? And it's a friend in Paris who read the script, and he said, I know this one guy in Belgrade, he would be great. And he turned down a big position in Serbia to make this film. He was offered to head the National Theatre, and they said you have to make a choice, either that or make this film. And he made this film. And that really, and I kept saying, Svetozar, are you sure? Are you sure? So I'm very,
No, Dimitri, when I told him that, he told me, listen, it's your decision. Just think about it. I mean, you're going to be the head of the National Theatre. I said, no, I'm going to Sahara and I'm going to make this film, and that's it. And it was a good choice. I'm pretty sure.
It was.
And we have to say the Sahara was pretty intense, but it was pretty amazing too. And like, for example, my character has amnesia, and I was like in the beginning, how? This is so difficult. How do you do that? You don't have memory. You don't have, like your head is empty. But when you see the Sahara, and for me it was the first time, and I never experienced something like that, something huge nature-wise.
Yeah.
And
it's symbolic to your state of mind. Like
Yeah.
this vast, empty ocean of sand.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
That's your mind.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
that's it.
No, it really is.
I'm curious, guys. I'm guessing I'm gonna butcher this too. Phobe House. Phoba
House.
How did you discover this wonderful place? It's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, it's a house that actually I had built for my parents who've been living in Morocco since 2003. And it was designed by a French architect, Guillaume Eustache. So I knew that house really well. It was completed in 2007. So, when I had met Delfine, I also knew the kinds of locations I wanted for this film. I knew I wanted the house, the desert, and the script was really written with all those locations in mind. But it's a very unique house. I mean, the people in Marrakesh, because Marrakesh, it's not the color white. All the houses are more in brown tones, and it's one of the only white colored house in Marrakesh, and people there know it as they call it the White House.
The White House. Wow.
And the thing with the house is especially interesting in the film because you never see the whole house in the film. You just see the parts of it.
Right.
So you don't see how it looks like in the film as we saw it.
It's like
and also that it's the house is and no, probably it was empty in the sense of there was no furniture. And in the film that was very important that there was like, and also again for my character there's like nothing there, no history, nothing. It was just an empty, beautiful architectural house.
Yeah, and there's the element of water, the pool in the house, which plays a major role. But the house to me really has different functions. It both at the same time, if you want to understand Jake in the film, you have to really understand the house, because Jake is the house, and the house is Jake, and at the same time, the space, the way it's you only discover it gradually. It also represents Delphine's character state of mind.
Yeah, of course.
So it has different functions.
And now, Dimitri, obviously this film has a strong visual style. What was it like establishing that style? What are some of your filmmaker influences?
Well, I mean, the filmmaker that I probably like most is Stanley Kubrick, but also in Italy, Antonioni. But also there's an American, I'd say, I went into making this film with movies and photos that accompanied me. And sometimes, a location will will make you think of the film. For example, when you're in the sand dunes, it's really impossible, very hard to film a sand dune without thinking of Lawrence of Arabia, because it's just, they're so iconic of that film. So it comes with it, and there's also, of course, Hitchcockian elements, which are, you know, I would say in a very unconscious way, I realized after making the film that the movie owes a lot to Vertigo. Not that it's in any way an homage to Vertigo, it very much is Vertigo. Because I, as a filmmaker, in making the film, I wanted to bring back to life emotions I had felt a year before towards Delfine. And so the film in a way is a recreation of that. Like the Jimmy Stewart character in Vertigo, he finds this woman later on and he makes her into the woman that he had met, you know, before. So it's very similar in that sense, but I only realized that after I made the film. So,
Interesting.
You know, but also, you know, to me the film owes a lot to what I call it owes a lot to American cinema, and especially all those great American filmmakers of the 60s, 70s, Sam Peckinpah, you know, the filmmakers whom I call the blood poets, the nihilist filmmakers, like Dennis Hopper, Peckinpah, Sam Fuller.
So guys, is this like an acting challenge? Is this the top of performances for you guys?
Well, I don't know. I mean, of course, it's a challenge. You know, it's not quite a new experience. It's totally new experience. Making such a film in those circumstances, and finally got this result. I must say, it's quite rare. I made more than 100 films, and it's quite rare that I can say for something I'm truly satisfied. I'm truly satisfied with this, how this film looks like, how this relation looks like, how this story, which is quite strange and in a way impossible. Understand? When you say someone this story, said, come on. But it really works. And thanks to these two people who made.
Well, thanks to everyone. We had a great director of photography on the film, Sten Groeping, who did visually an amazing. Unfortunately, he couldn't be in New York for the release of the film, but he has a very intimate relationship, you know, with what I call the light of God, or the Malik light, which is really, you know, all natural light. There's not one shot which was made with artificial light in this film. That's great. And Sten really brought a lot to the film. He also was the first assistant director in many ways. The script, I mean, you know,
also many jobs.
You know, and but also the sound the boom operator and the sound mixer came from Serbia. Nani, they did the makeup also for Delfine, which was, you know, so everyone was extremely involved, and you know, Delfine did often her own makeup also.
And you guys have obviously worked with larger crews. What's it like working with a more condensed group of people?
I think it gives you much more freedom, and I also think that you feel at certain times more at ease. But at other times it was very difficult, just because of those things we were saying before, that we had to do, like we had like 2-3 jobs to do our But on the other hand, sometimes it was faster, and sometimes it was so difficult in many ways, but it's more intense. That's for sure.
Yeah, because you know, with a small crew, what happens?
Because you know each other so well.
But everyone gets very involved. So when a problem occurs, everyone becomes very involved. On a big film, when there are problems, the assistants take care of it. But here it's like, you know, so suddenly if there's like water bottles missing on the set, it can take a huge proportion, and everyone feels it, you know.
There was no like, how do you say it,
hierarchy?
hierarchy.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but at the,
That's, you can't if you only with 10 people.
Yeah.
There's like everybody's equal.
So that eats up more time on the
No,
set.
absolutely.
Yeah, but at the other hand, it makes it very interesting because everybody's equal and there's not like and you know
It's a family.
like it's a
basically.
family.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well, no, because for example, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I would sometimes be ironing Delfine's clothes for the next day, and things like that, or or a Svetozar shirt. And but it's fun. Yeah.
So guys, what do you hope audiences take away from You Go to My Head?
When I was traveling today here, I was thinking what will be the next step. And Dimitri sent me a book a couple of years ago, and he says that maybe we should develop that story. What I would like is to work once again with these people.
Oh yeah. Right.
And I think we can make something else which is really worth. And we went to different places with this film, and we were talking. We went to Cairo, we went to Belgrade, and now we're here. And I think we can develop something, and he can develop something which is really special. While we were working, Dimitri is one of the rare persons that I met that knows too much about the film. Really too much.
Yeah.
But what is good about him as a director is that he is not pushing his knowledge into the film.
Okay.
And he's not showing the people that he knows
Yeah.
really everything about the film.
He's not obnoxious or anything or rude.
So-
Some people, but not us.
Some, okay. And he's very, very emotional in his job as a director, which I like the most about the thing, because he really put all his emotions in the film, and which is for this film and for this story the most important thing,
That's good.
to believe in that.
What do you hope audiences take away from this film?
Oh, that's a difficult question.
Oh.
I think what I like about the film is that it's open. There's no answers.
Yeah. There's no heroes or villains either.
No,
Which is-
even though in the beginning it seems like that.
Right.
And that's what I really liked about the script and the whole story is there's no bad guy. Even though in the beginning you think like Jake is like the bad guy,
Yeah,
but he's
yeah.
very human and he's very
That's so good.
and then it is twisted from many ways, from many heads.
Yeah.
Let's say it like that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's I've had some people who've watched the film and they say afterwards, "Oh, this movie really stays with us. We still are like in a kind of a dream,"
Yeah.
and that to me is really the most important in a way. Is that I'd love for people to walk out of this film and be moved by it, but an emotion that's above all an aesthetic emotion that comes from the plastic of the film. And because to me, in many ways, I was thinking about this the other day. You can look at this film as I always loved the opening of Casino, the Scorsese film, where you have De Niro walk out of that building and he walks to his car, and there's a voiceover that basically says, if you love somebody in life, you have to be ready to give everything. And then he opens the door, gets in the car, and it blows up. You Go to My Head is that explosion. That's really what it is.
That's awesome. What you least expect, what your dreams, desires, and poof. Yeah.
And,
This movie is so good, and I just want to congratulate all of you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Guys, while we're here, are there any projects you're working on now that you can discuss?
In Belgium, I did a film and it just came out. It's All of Us. It's a film about terminally ill people and a life coach from the hospital. And I'm playing a sister of one of the terminal ill persons. And yeah, he's gonna be the director also in the States now, but we will see how it goes.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see it.
You?
No, you first.
Well, in the meantime, I've done several films in Serbia and 2 TV series, and I'm preparing the new production, which I'm producing as my 5th film as a producer this summer. So that's it.
And you know, there is it's true. I sent that book to Svetozar, which would make a great film, but I'd love to develop that. But as a, you know, probably first, I'm now completing work on a screenplay of a film which I would like to. The story takes place in the States, in the Midwest, which I would like really to make next. It's a very dark film. It probably has some of the themes of You Go to My Head, which I look at in even, which will be carried on in this film. But if I can make the film that I have in my head, it will be, you know, it will make Pasolini, Salo, and Gaspar Noé's movies look like Walt Disney pictures.
Okay.
So
Any roles for these two?
maybe.
Yeah. Well, guys, the film is great. I want to thank you so much for your time. Lastly, before I let you go, how could people see this wonderful movie?
Well, it's being released tomorrow in New York at the Quad Cinema.
Valentine's Day.
For Valentine's Day. It's the perfect movie for Valentine's Day, and perfect movie. Oh no, absolutely. You know, and on the 21st, a week later, it's opening in Los Angeles at the Laemmle Glendale, and you know, and from there it will open afterwards in other cities. So it's really great that it's coming out in the States. And First Run really did a great job with the film.
Well, again, it's a beautiful film, and congratulations to all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time today. And guys, it's You Go to My Head. It's wonderful. Check it out. I'm Randy Unger. This has been Under the Radar. Thanks for watching.